Hey guys, I have a standard match here with Sebass192 from YouTube, and he's going to lead with a Tyranitar. I lead with a Zelf. Obviously, that's not the best thing for me, so I decided to switch. However, he has the Pursuit, which is really bad for me because that's going to hit my Zelf down to my Focus Sash, and that's not an all good, especially with the Sandstorm up. So I switch out into Scizor because Scizor is a pretty good Tyranitar counter. I decided to go for the Swords Dance, predicting the switch. He ends up going into Flygon, and I know these things can carry Fire-type moves, but this is a really, really bulky Scizor. I love this set, so I'm pretty sure I can live it. So I go for the Bullet Punch, and I hit it down to red health, and he goes for the Fire Punch, which I was kind of expecting a Fire-type move, and I do survive it, except he gets a burn, which sucks. Because if he wouldn't have gotten that burn, I would have been able to take down that Flygon and maybe set up a roost with this Scizor later, but as it stands now, I just kind of have to finish it all with Bullet Punch, and unfortunately my Scizor's going to go down really early, and that's something that I didn't really want to see, but what can you do? So he's going to go out and I go out into Zelf here. He goes out into Lucario, and I know he's going to priority move me, but I decided just to stay in, maybe try to get the Stealth Rock set up, but he ends up just vacuum waving me, and that's dead Zelf. So I go out into Dragonite, and I'm going to set up a Dragon Dance. I go for the Earthquake. I lied, because I wanted to get damage on that Lucario, just in case he wants to set up. This Dragonite has Extreme Speed, which is cool. It's a very, very bulky Dragonite, and it has Extreme Speed and Dragon Dance on it, which is kind of cool. The Extreme Speed does help in certain situations. So I go for the Dragon Dance here, because I don't know what the Scizor can do to me. He goes for the Roost, so now I know I can 2-hit KO with Earthquake, so I'm going to try going for that. But he's going to switch, he's going to save his Scizor for later, and decides to go out into his Swampert, which I guess is okay. I just go for the Earthquake, and yeah, it's probably not going to kill because the Swampert's pretty awesome defense, but it does almost half, actually, which is surprising. I'm just going to try to finish off with Dragon Claw now, but he's going to switch yet again, this time into Lucario, so he doesn't want to lose his Swampert. And I get the Dragon Claw off on Lucario, and that's going to actually do more than half to it due to Lucario's pretty frail defenses. But because I don't really have much speed on this Dragonite, this Lucario actually outspeeds me, which I was actually not expecting, especially after Dragon Dance. But I guess it outspeeds me, so it hits me with a Dragon Pulse, and that hurts a lot, so I just go for the Dragon Claw, and that's going to take it out, but it does quite a lot of damage to Dragonite. So now he goes out into Tyranitar, and I'm pretty sure I can actually outspeed if he's not Scarfed, but here I found out he actually is Scarfed. He goes for the Ice Punch, so yeah, that Tyranitar is Scarfed, and that kind of sucks. So it kills my Dragonite, and I'm going to switch now into my own Tyranitar, knowing he's locked into Ice Punch. Ice Punch shouldn't do a whole lot to Tyranitar, so I'm just going to go for the Stone Edge. I was actually kind of predicting Scizor, but he goes out into Swampert, which Stone Edge won't do a lot to Swampert, but I have a pretty good Swampert counter, and that is Celebi. So I go out into Celebi, and I'm just, he sets up the Stealth Rock, so whatever. There's not a whole lot Swampert can really do to Celebi anyway. I'm just going to go for the Leech Seed. If he switches, I'll get the Leech Seed off on whatever he switches into. If not, I'll get it on the Swampert. Like I said, I don't think Swampert can do a lot to Celebi. He goes for the Roar, so I guess he gets some Stealth Rock damage or something. And he roars me in a Tyranitar, which really isn't good, because I don't want to get, like, Earthquaked or anything. So I kind of thinking he's going to roar again, predicting my switch into Celebi. So I decided to go for the Earthquake for damage, except he completely catches me off guard and doesn't roar. In fact, he doesn't even Earthquake or Waterfall. He has the Superpower, which is very surprising. I did not see that coming, and that is X4 effective against Tyranitar. He's not living it. So my Tyranitar goes down with a Superpower. Interesting move to have on a Swampert. Really worked out for him there. So I just go back at a Celebi because, yeah, Celebi is like, walls this thing completely. I'm going to go for the Calm Mind. I guess I was kind of just predicting a switch, but he doesn't. He just roars me again, and he roars me into my last Pokemon, which is Snorlax. And I'm feeling pretty nice because he has, -1 attack, so I don't think Superpower should do a lot to me, so I go for a Curse. He ends up going into Tyranitar and going to Superpower me, and yeah, because he gets -1 defense from superpower, and because I have the +1 attack due to curse, that Earthquake is going to KO his Tyranitar. So now we're going to an epic, really boring stall part of the battle, so that's why I'm speeding it up. I'm just going to predict the superpower going to Celebi. That was a pretty obvious prediction for me. I'm going to set up the Leech Seed on the Swampert again, and that's kind of cool because Swampert will be taking some damage every turn and healing my Pokemon, because Swampert does actually have decent hit point stat. And yeah, I go back into Celebi, and he just roars again, so that's kind of annoying. I'm really afraid of that Scizor that he has right now, but I really shouldn't be, because after the battle he told me it doesn't even have a bug move, so it's not really any threat at all to my Celebi. So I'm just going to rest, predicting a roar, and I do get it, so my Snorlax gets free hit points, and now I have a switch into Celebi. And I'm just going to go recover now, because I want to get HP back just in case of Scizor. So he reveals his last Pokemon, which is Clefable. And at first I was thinking, that isn't so bad. I set up a few Calm Minds on this thing, and he goes for the Ice Beam. And I'm thinking, okay, he could get the freeze, he could get a crit, and those things would be pretty annoying. But at most, Ice Beam has a maximum of 16 PP, so it shouldn't freeze more than on average 1.6 times a battle. So I'm just going to keep getting some Calm Minds. He's going to go for the Ice Beam now, and unfortunately I got rid of Psychic on this set. I have Grass Knot instead, and Grass Knot isn't going to be doing a whole lot to Clefable, and he gets the freeze. So I'm thinking, crap. I just wanted to set up a few more Calm Minds. I could have, if I can set up some Calm Minds on Celebi, I'm pretty sure I can win this. So it really comes down to, can I set up Calm Minds on Celebi? So I know Celebi has Natural Cure, so I get the freeze away just by going into Snorlax. And I'm just going to basically stall out for another rest. He's going to try to Seismic Toss me, but I have 9 hit points to spare, so I'm just going to get off a Body Slam, which is kind of pointless actually, because it doesn't do a whole lot. I was kind of hoping for the para, but whatever. So I go for the rest, and that's going to heal me back to full. And now I can go back into Celebi, and yeah, so he switches out into Swampert. Actually, no, I stay in. Okay, I burn a turn of sleep, sure. But he goes out into Swampert now, and I thought he'd roar actually, so yeah, he just goes Superpower. So I should have went into Celebi there. Whatever. So that does some damage to Snorlax. But Snorlax is going to wake up and go for a Curse as he roars this time. So now I'm back into Celebi. And I'm just going to go for the Recover because I definitely want health back before that Clefable comes back in. But he actually goes into Scizor. I guess he was hoping that I'd be weak enough to Bullet Punch. Because like I said, when he switched there, that's when I knew he didn't actually have a bug move. So that confirms to me that he doesn't have a bug move. So that means if I can just set up with Celebi, I pretty much have this game won. Grass Knot, sure, won't be doing a whole lot to Scizor, but after I can put a Leech Seed on it, and eventually, after +6 Calm Minds, I'll be able to do some damage with Grass Knot. So I'm thinking, okay, I just don't want the freeze. Even a crit would be okay, because I know I can live a crit Ice Beam from this thing, as long as I'm high enough health. But I cannot, absolutely not, have some more freezes. So I get some decent amount of Calm Minds. I'm just going to go for the Grass Knot. Looks like a 3 KO, but he gets the second freeze. And I'm like, oh, come on, game. Are you being serious right now? That's just... I was pretty annoyed. But you know what? I still have one more chance. And I know that he's running out of Ice Beams. He's used a bunch of them already, and even used 1 or 2 on Snorlax. And I know at most he can have 16. So I go back into Celebi. This is my last Pokemon. It's basically this. If he gets a freeze here, he wins. If he doesn't get a freeze, I win. It's really that simple. So I'm going to go for the Recover because I need health back, and he's going to keep going Ice Beam, and I'm just going to keep going for Calm Minds and such. Once I get a few, I can start going Grass Knot to try to kill this Clefable. And, please God, don't freeze. It has a 10% chance. Like I said, an average of 1.6 times the battle can you freeze. So I'm looking pretty good this time, actually. I mean, I haven't freezed yet. I get off the, third or fourth Clown Mind or something, and he still hasn't freezed me. So I recover, and I'm hoping, just praying, please. But the third freeze happens. And that was on the second to last Ice Beam, he said. That was his last Ice Beam, the one he just used. Second to last Ice Beam. He gets the freeze that clinched in the match. So unless I can dethaw, I'm going to lose, but of course I'm not going to dethaw. The game doesn't love me that much. I thought the game wouldn't completely hate me, but sometimes it just gives you 3 freezes. So good game, Sebass. Was a fun match. Rate, comment, subscribe, guys. Check them out. Link in the description. See you guys next time. Bye. So today's question of the day is leave a comment about your longest battle. This one was sure pretty close to mine.